Good evening, little dreamer. Find the cozy spot beneath your warm blanket. Take a slow, gentle breath, and let us wander together into a peaceful forest where the moon always smiles. The stars sparkle like tiny diamonds, and every night begins with a little bit of magic. Far beyond the busiest towns, past the tallest mountains, and across fields filled with dancing wildflowers, there was a quiet place called Whispering Forest. The forest was unlike any other. Every evening, when the golden sun slowly slipped behind the hills, the whole forest became wrapped in a blanket of soft blue light. The trees whispered sleepy songs to one another. The tiny stream giggled as it skipped over smooth little stones. Fireflies blinked like floating stars. The flowers gently folded their petals, ready for a peaceful night's sleep. And high above everything, the great silver moon slowly climbed into the sky. The moon loved Whispering Forest. Every single night, she watched over every sleeping bird, every sleeping squirrel, every tiny mouse, every little rabbit. She made sure no one ever felt alone. Near the oldest oak tree in the forest stood a tiny burrow with a round wooden door painted the color of blueberries. That little burrow belonged to a young bunny named Pip. Pip was smaller than most rabbits. His ears were a little floppy. His paws were always dusty from exploring, and around his neck he wore a soft little blue scarf that his grandmother had knitted just for him. Grandmother Bunny always smiled whenever she saw Pip wearing it. It keeps your heart warm, she liked to say. Every evening, after supper, Pip would hop outside his burrow. He would sit on his favorite smooth rock. Then he would look up at the moon every night without missing even one. He loved watching her rise slowly into the sky. Sometimes she looked perfectly round. Sometimes she looked like a tiny silver smile. Sometimes she hid behind fluffy clouds and played peekaboo with the stars. Pip always waved. Good evening, moon. Of course, the moon never answered. Or at least Pip thought she didn't. One peaceful evening, the breeze carried the sweet smell of lavender through the forest. Tiny crickets began their gentle nighttime song. Somewhere nearby, an owl softly called, "Hoo hoo." Everything felt calm. Everything felt safe. Pip sighed happily. "I wish," he whispered quietly, "I could make everyone feel as peaceful as the moon does." He wasn't wishing to be famous. He wasn't wishing to be the biggest bunny. He wasn't wishing for mountains of carrots. He simply wanted to make others smile, just like the moon. As he watched the silver light spread across the forest floor, he noticed something wonderful. Every little creature seemed happier when the moon arrived. Baby birds tucked their heads beneath their wings. Fox cubs curled beside their mothers. Deer rested beneath ancient trees. Even the flowers seemed to sleep more peacefully beneath her gentle glow. How does she do it? Pip wondered. How can one little light make everyone feel so safe? He thought about it for a long time, long enough for tiny stars to fill every corner of the sky. Finally, Pip stood up. He took a tiny deep breath, looked towards the moon, and spoke from his heart. "Dear moon, I know you are very busy watching over everyone, but if you can hear me, I have one little wish." The forest became very still. The breeze stopped dancing. The leaves became quiet. Even the crickets paused their song. Pip smiled a little. I wish I could borrow just a tiny piece of your light, only for one night, so I can help someone feel safe, just like you do. Then, nothing happened. The breeze returned, the crickets continued singing, the stream softly bubbled. Pip giggled to himself. What a silly little wish. He gave one last wave towards the moon. Good night. Then he hopped inside his cozy burrow. Grandmother Bunny had already tucked a fluffy blanket onto Pip's tiny bed. His favorite stuffed rabbit waited patiently beside his pillow. Everything smelled like warm chamomile tea and fresh honey biscuits. Pip snuggled beneath the blanket, closed his sleepy eyes, and within moments he drifted into the gentlest sleep. Outside, the moon continued shining, but this night something was different. Very slowly, a tiny silver beam floated down from the sky. It drifted between sleepy branches, past glowing fireflies, over quiet flowers, until it reached Pip's little bedroom window. The moonbeam carried something no bigger than a acorn. It shimmered softly, like a tiny drop of liquid starlight. It floated gently through the open window, then settled quietly beside Pip's blue scarf. As soon as it touched the wooden table, the little silver globe became a tiny glowing pearl. It was warm, gentle, peaceful, almost as if someone had captured one little heartbeat of the moon herself. High above the forest, the moon smiled very softly. So many wishes for light, she whispered, but very few wished to share it. Outside, the stars twinkled just a little brighter. The trees swayed gently, the forest sighed happily, and somewhere, carried gently by the evening breeze, it almost sounded as though the moon herself whispered, tomorrow will be a very special day. Sleep peacefully, little Pip. A beautiful adventure is about to begin.